Hi, welcome. Karis to you. I'm a little more encouraged and a little happier, for want of a better word, than the last session, because in the last session I was upset for people being legalistic and having the attitude that unless you keep the law of Moses exactly as the law of Moses, then you're not saved. They're trying to implement Judaism into Christianity. I'm not saying don't keep the law. There are four kinds of people. There is the legalist, oh, keep the law of Moses, yet it can't be done. There is the liberalist, oh, we need to do godly things like go to church to prove that we are godly. Then they're just doing things under their own effort and God's not in them and they are fooling themselves. They're a churchian. And we have the hedonist. Oh, we are free from the law of sin and death, and that means we can now do whatever we want. Totally wrong as well. Just as wrong, even more wrong than the legalist potentially. But sin is sin is sin. All three of these are living in sin. And fourthly, we have the theist. Someone living by charis, somebody living by more than charis, by um, three-tiered or tri-tiered charis epignosis. People who learn and get a working comprehension of the word, not trying to make it say what they want it to say, etc., because then they're injecting themselves into it. Me, my pride, my ego, what I want, which is sin in itself. It's where the legalism, the hedonism, and the liberalism all come from, not the theism. The theism just submits to God. And of course, in theism, that submission to God, you are avoiding sin. But are you making sure that the food you eat was not grown in a field that had more than one crop type in it? Leviticus 19:19 basically says if you grow a crop with two types of seed, it's against the law. Okay. Now, a type of seed, lettuce, you don't see lettuce seeds, but lettuce does have seeds. Lettuce is grown from seed, even though you don't see them. Mustard is said to be the smallest of seeds, yet it is still a seed. Then all your fruits have seeds, etc. So it's not just talking of grain crops. Seed is seed is seed. Pretty much all crops have seed, except maybe your root crops like potato and carrots. But did they even have carrots and potatoes in the Middle East at that time? I know they definitely didn't have potatoes because potatoes weren't even discovered until the Americas were discovered 15, 1600 years later. something like that anyway. Certainly more than 1,000 years later, there were no potatoes. Yet is it important? Is your salvation based on whether you eat food from a veggie garden or not that happens to have lettuce and onion and potatoes all growing in the one veggie garden? And fruits and things? Because that is sin under the law. Is your salvation dependent on the food you eat? Paul said, no, it's not. Yet, if it is likely to make another person stumble, then seek to avoid the foods that'll do that in their presence. So if they're a Jew, for example, they are not to eat pork. Don't eat pork in front of them. Simple. When you're at home, there is no one to stumble. Pork is fine. If you're not a Jew, and I'm certainly not a Jew, and people living by the law are either Jews or trying to live as Jews, they are living a Jewish lifestyle, not a Christian lifestyle, because we are above the law, and not above the law as in lawless and can do whatever we want. We are living by godly things and avoiding sin. So by nature, we're not lying, we're not cheating, we're not stealing, we're not whatever. Because those things aren't loving your neighbor. Do you steal from the neighbor you love? Do you cheat the neighbor you love? If you love them, you probably treat them better than you treat yourself. Married people. A man might stand up for his rights, but when it comes to his wife, he might say, I lay my rights down to you. I will treat you beyond what I treat other people. And that's what Christianity's about. We treat others better than ourselves. We lay our rights down to God and in any regard that God would have us treat others well. If your rights, on the other hand, are not to be violently attacked by someone, well, that's a different story. Attack them back? No. Leave them? Sure. So, what did happen due to the episode of legalists trying to push their way because they are all so important? There's a lot of pride in that. And God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. It's the grace that we're seeking. The relationship with God. It's a 3-level thing, 3 tiers. Get to know the word. You don't have to know it backwards. You just need a relatively good working knowledge of it. You don't have to be able to quote scriptures left, right, and center. But if you've read it and have maybe highlighted all the highly relevant verses, etc. And you have maybe read those a couple of times and you've got a good understanding of it. Well, that will give you a good understanding of God, and you can build a good relationship with God based on a good understanding of God rather than just make up what you think about God and believe what you think about God, and therefore, God is um, like whatever, like Eros or something, which was the Roman, I think, possibly, probably actually no, the Greek god of lust, as it were. So we need to understand who God really is, not who we want God to be. So that working knowledge of the word is the foundation to know God and to gain a proper relationship with God, to gain a relationship with the real God rather than our created image of God, which in a sense, even if it's just a mental image, it's still an idol. We're creating an image which is not God, and we're worshipping our image of what we want God to be. No, you need that working foundation first in the Word, then build that relationship. That's level two, the relationship on top of the Word. Then on top of that again, we have the outward expression of God. We learn about God, we get a relationship with God, we then express God to the world through showing the world love and caring for them, taking care of their needs, um, helping the widows and feeding the hungry and whatever that might be, charitable things. But there is a purpose to the charity, which is even more than just caring for them. We are showing God to them. So, if you have charitable action, and it is merely charitable action, nothing more, then it is vain. There is no valid purpose to it beyond itself. You're doing it for itself, and that's all. You're doing charity for charity's sake, the end. We do charity for God's sake. We are charitable to glorify God. How does charity glorify God? Well, it gives you an opportunity to talk about God. And that's the point. If you're doing charitable things, then express God to the people that you're doing charitable things for. Use that as an opportunity to say, hey, I'm doing this because it's what God wants. And God can make your life a lot better than just the food that I'm giving you or whatever that might be. Can I express God to you so your life can be better and the need to seek food will be less because you will look at life a different way and you will gain more opportunity for food to come from other sources, like maybe work, for example, uh, whatever it may be. I don't know. All I do know is things like Matthew, when Jesus spoke about being a light to the world and not hiding your light under a bushel. So people may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Do they glorify your good works because, well, they don't know of your Father in heaven? They haven't heard of your Father in heaven. Oh, hang on. For them to be able to glorify your Father in heaven, they must know, they must be told that it's due to God. After all, Jesus also said, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all nations, discipling them, and so on. It's not just charity for charity's sake. It's charity to glorify and present God to people. What do we do? Basically nothing, more often than not. People are being legalistic. Oh, I follow the law of Moses, so God will save me. Fail. Or liberal. Oh, I do charitable things in my strength, so God will save me. Fail. Hedonistic. Oh, I do what I want because Jesus died for my sins, so whatever I do is no longer a sin, and therefore I can do anything. Absolute fail. No, Christ died for my sins. I accept that. And I reach up to God to communicate and commune with God so I know what He wants to do, what He wants to do through me, what I do therefore on His behalf to glorify Him on a social level. What do I give people, whether it be physical things, financial things, education, teaching? Um, I don't know. For some people, it might be praying for things, etc. But believe me, that's going to be one of the minor. Sure, pray for people, but the Bible also said something like, "Don't wish someone well and send them on their way." Don't, oh, I'll pray for people and let them go find the things that God has sent them because of I prayed for them. No, you've got to have a personally giving heart, which is beyond just praying for them. You have to be generous in on many levels. We're here to give people. We're here to share God in everything we do, in everything we say, in every way we act, in our thoughts, in our speech, in our charity. He also said said this a few times lately, Matthew 1:38. I'm not going to go look there right now, but basically, I came to preach the gospel. So if that's what he did, and as disciples, we do what he did, then we should be turning conversations to God and godliness. Did he have conversations that he didn't turn to God and godliness? I can't find any. I can find lots of conversations of his, but whether they be individual, like the woman at the well, he turned that to God and godliness, or whether they be to masses of people, like the Sermon on the Mount, all about godly things. What do we do? What do we talk about? Okay, I will take a break for a second because I'm listening to some very loud talking coming from the other room. and let this disruption go. Okay, I'll continue. Okay, so the disruption caused by responding to the legalists was not good. There is some godly justification there, but you've got to remember two things. If you do that, you are arguing with somebody that is incredibly unlikely to want to change at all. So therefore, there is a vanity within the argument itself. And secondly, Titus tells us to warn them once or twice, and if they haven't changed, to stop communicating with them. So that's what I've now done in that regard. But why? Okay. It causes a disruption. You are uneasy. You are upset. And that upset attitude can spread from you out, or it can make you have a poor attitude towards other things you do or the like. It's a cancer. It grows by itself. And we need to cut that out and protect godly things that remain. And these kinds of arguments are not godly. It's something we do for God, but they are disturbing. And I don't want that disturbance to affect my conversation with others or the like or whatever else. So I need to step away from them, which I did. And I also realized that maybe there was also a purpose yesterday, that due to that disruption, I am now able to express this to you and remind you that we are to deal with disruptions, etc., like that, to deal with them quickly and step aside. Okay, a bit shorter today. I think I'll wrap up there. Bless you. Govern well. Charis to you.